point on people's history kind of repeats to digital, like computer-generated images for animations. Pixar also made many shorts in SIGGRAPH. I've seen many of them. People, including Disney and Studio Ghibli, all my favorite animators, say, oh, computer can never capture the artistic expression of the human hands. But after Toy Story, that impression changes, because when everybody can be emotionally touched, a part of their humanity was moved by the medium, then they see it as art form. And so today with games, we have lots of games. We have games for a whole family to enjoy together for fun. And we have all kinds of devices that has games on it. There's games for children, there's games for parents, mom and dad. There are games that connects all the children together after school. There are games connect all the adults together after work. But there is not a game that is all ages. Like, I have not been able to find a game I can play with my wife and my kids together. And I think we're just so close to there. So after Journey, we really wanted to make a game that is emotionally accessible to people of all ages and genders. And it has to be, 4-quadrant. That's like how Disney described their animations. But PlayStation at the time is a majority male platform. And we realized if we stay on the PlayStation, on the console, at maximum we can only hit that little slice of the pink pie. And it won't change the society's view of games. And so we made the leap to say, all right, let's try to make the game accessible emotionally, but also from the hardware platform side. Can we make a game that everybody can play? And so that's how we started Sky. So from Journey to Sky, it took us 7 years to make, which is insane. Like 3 years is already so crashing, and 7 years, I don't even have the words to describe that. And we're shifting from a console platform to leading with a mobile platform. We're changing from 2-player to MMO. We're changing from hardcore gaming audience to suddenly people of all ages. Many of them never played the games. When we make Journey, there's no chat. It's pretty safe. There's no harassment. No harassment in Journey either. But now we have a complete open online community that could have toxic behaviors if people can chat. And so it's a lot of challenges that took a long time. But we believe we're trying to build a world that could represent, truthfully capturing the bright side of humanity. Compassion and generosity is the emotion we're trying to create. And these are some of the fan arts. I like to look at players' fan arts because they usually capture what they remember the most from the game. And in Sky, the fan art is never about the NPC stories. The fan art is always about the connection, the bonding, the friendships, the moment of compassion, the moment of altruism. And I'm really, moved by these art. But the game itself is essentially an online, a big social chat room where you can chat, you can hold hands with people, you can high five, you can give a hug, you can dance with people, you can send them letters, leave notes, and play music together. It's a pretty boilerplate description of the game. But at the same time, I want to say Sky is also the most socially engaging online game. I'm sure some games have piggybacking, but nobody bothered to make piggybacking really deep. And so we also have the UGC content where you can play instruments. We actually have the whole list sets of instruments that you can go really jam with friends. The most surprising thing about Sky is that I didn't realize, including Journey, by the way, the majority of players who really like Journey and Sky are women. This just was never a thing if you come to GDC, or if you go to E3, you would never know that. But my coworker told me they had a Journey fan gathering in Japan. Actually, more than half of the people who showed up are women. Certainly, Sky today is over 70% of the active players are women. And worldwide, there's over 260 million install of Sky. And that is just a number that nobody in the studio have ever imagined when we make a game like this. The other surprise is we try to make the game emotionally accessible to people of all ages, and we actually have people of all ages playing. And here's a photo of a family with 3 generations playing Sky together. And out of all the messages I find, this one touches me the most because this is a father who doesn't play video game, but he was playing the game because of his daughter, and he was moved by the game and cried. And he wanted to thank us for making the experience. And I find out this guy works at Pixar, and he's like a Pixar tech lead. That's extra bonus for me. It's just like, these people are hard to move. So, and but on the other hand, among the community, these are the 2 things I find quite proud. The first one is, most of us who made Sky, we're introverts, so we don't like hang out with people. So when we go make online games, we want to make sure it's actually friendly for introverts. And the second part is they told us that our community on Discord is the most wholesome, according to the community. But yeah, and that says a lot about how we managed to design to avoid what you would expect from a typical online gaming community. So I'm going to just share some quick lessons, notes we take, things that worked out and things that didn't work out with you. That's really why you're here, right? So, okay, first, very important one, just remember, the players are not born toxic. And unintentional design can potentially nudge our players towards toxic behaviors, but they were never born toxic. So, number one, our behaviors are shaped by our environment. I'm sure everybody have heard of Stanford prison experiment. Just to break it down very simple, in Stanford, a psychologist wants to test if it's the system, the institution of prison that's pushing the police to be abusive, or it's just purely because of the people. And so they recruited the same group of college students with the same background and given them roles of prisoners and guards. And they let them stay in the same facility for over a month. Initially, every college student was finding this really fun. It's a really fun role-playing game, right? It's like a LARP. But over time, they start to behave just like the real prison, where abuse start to happen. And people start to break down mentally, and people calling for quitting. They are all promised lots of dollars if they stay through the whole thing, but people eventually quit. They couldn't stay in this anymore. And the takeaway from that research is the professor said, the role that the people have in a situation has a significant effect on their behavior, and it's even much bigger than the innate personality. Innate personality is a weaker influence than the external situation. And without accountability, many people will do evil if given power. But I'm a game designer. I'm skeptical of everything, and I think the evil thing is wrong. none of these things, conditioning, don't work. They're babies, so even if you tell them they're supposed to behave nicely, they are still seeking for the feedback. And we see this happen not just between our developers. The tester also developed these toxic behaviors in our game. And for quite a while, I was really thinking, are we really born evil? And so one day, I ran into a child psychologist. I was complaining about these playtests to her. And she just said, oh, you're describing the behavior of a baby. The baby would seek maximum feedback to reinforce their social behaviors, similar to a dog. I don't know if you guys ever raised a puppy. They have these teeny shark teeth that's really sharp, right? So if they bite you, you feel the pain, but they can't really hurt you. You're like, why do they grow this type of teeth? So if they bite hard enough, their siblings is gonna bark back, right? So their teeth is teaching them how hard to bite for social interactions. So then you would say, okay, well, maybe if the gamers are kids, let's just give them positive feedback for what they're doing good and giving them negative feedback for what is bad. The problem with babies is that sometimes they don't interpret negative feedback as negative, and they always find that being a positive. Because, yeah, my parents are yelling at me, that's new, that's very big sounds, I like that. And this happens on the internet all the time, you know. And so what we learned from the psychologist is that if you want a baby to stop doing the bad things, instead of giving them negative feedback, you should try to give them no feedback. And that's a very simple rule, but you can apply that to all kinds of design in the online community. Okay, third, sometimes you have bad moral behavior